Today we have Eric White with Cox Communications to discuss supporting businesses of all sizes. Welcome, Eric.
Welcome, thank you. So if I haven't met anybody, I'm Eric White. I've supported your team for about the last 3 years directly for the Cox channel program. I've met the majority of everyone, I think, either in office or channel partners or different locations or St. Louis casinos, just a number of different places. So if you're not familiar with me, please feel free. Hopefully my contact information is on here somewhere. Happily to talk to anybody. I typically try to get up to St. Louis or Louisville at least every other month. So happy to sit down and, typical vendor, buy breakfast, buy lunch, whatever works out best for you guys. So throw anything in chat that you want. I'm going to do a very high level view of Cox Communications just because we are not local in most of the markets where you guys are. We do have a lot of locations. We're in, I think the last count to be exact was 14 states, and with the acquisition of a couple other places, including there in St. Louis with one, we've got a lot broader reach now. So Cox is a 125-year-old, almost $30 billion a year company. We have communications that we're looking at as far as your standard internet, voice, TV, which is kind of what everybody thinks of us for. We are also a very large player in the automotive, where we own Cox Automotive, which has got Manheim Auto Auction, Auto Trader. And I think the last stat I saw is 1 out of every 4 cars on the road has gone through a Cox company of some type. We're branching out into a lot of other things as far as sustainability. The Cox family is very, very big on making sure we go green. So there's your Cox Farms, everything all the way down to we sponsor a e-gaming team in Atlanta that goes and plays Call of Duty for a living. So it's a pretty broad company. Some people don't know that because they're not there. If you've ever been in Atlanta, we're up by Perimeter Mall. We've got a complex of about 4 different 30-story buildings. Own the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, which is kind of what got the owner started, was newspapers and print. And then we've kind of gone on from there as the world has migrated. We got out of the majority of the newspapers, moved into television, and television as far as being an actual cable company, where we went from 15 channels in greater Cleveland to the enormity of channels that are out there now. At one point we were a cable company. We are now, like most other telcos, we are now a internet/transport company. So we've got a lot of variety out there in ways we can deliver that and help with different products, customers, scalability, that type of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and just start the slideshow. It's not very long. There's 10 total, so we'll get done a little early. I was told very specifically to make sure I have prizes. So there will be prizes. It will be random drawing at the end. I've got 2 neat prizes and kind of 1 grand prize, if that makes sense. And I will get those sent out when this is all done. So this is just kind of the opening thing. I tried to find a guy who looked as much like Chris Torbett as possible to represent, and I feel like I did pretty well with this guy. You guys figure out which one. So going on here, if I can get her to advance, there we go. So this is kind of who we are, what we offer. Simplified connectivity, all cloud solutions. We own Rapid Scale, which I know the majority of your team is familiar with. They do literally anything as a service. We did, thankfully, about 2 years ago, switch over to the option of being either residual or upfront payment, which we had been talked to considerably about making sure we had the residual available. So now we offer both of those in whichever way works best. We are a national company, international if you add Rapid Scale and kind of where their data centers and everything is. But we do have local support. So if any of your customers reach out to us, they are coming to a US-based help desk, tech center, 24/7 local US service. So that works out well. And then the other thing we like to focus on is we are one of the different agencies as far as the channel that has no problem getting in there and being collaborative with you and with your deals. If you bring us stuff that you want me to sit in on meetings on, me to sit in on trainings on, we've got everything from entry-level engineers all the way up to enterprise level sales engineers that are working on 20-30 million dollar a month contracts. So there's not a lot that we can't do and that we can't help out with. So we're just going to keep kind of looking. Here is our target industries that we like to help out with. The one that is not on here, which surprised me, is finance. Our largest rapid scale customer, actually our largest three rapid scale customers are all financial institutions. But we are very skilled at healthcare, RFID. We've got a lot of training there. Hospitality Institute, Cox owns a hospitality network, which we purchased probably about 7 or 8 years ago, which is specifically designed to target uh, conference centers, event centers, hotels, obviously. We have all the licenses and certifications for government selling, so that we can't, not support you guys if you bring us a government opportunity, an RFP, anything like that. Education is, we're very big on that. One of our biggest kind of flagships is Arizona State University, which has the Cox Technology Center. We've got a full-blown private wireless and MOCAN network built in there, and then down to kind of SMB. If you guys have, traditional retail customers, medical offices, dental offices, anything like that. Personally, my largest deals that I've closed as a channel manager through the thing were with medical chains, dental chains, vision chains. I've got 2 of those that are billing over $50,000 a month now, which it's a pretty good amount for kind of smaller 5 to 10 person offices. And then manufacturing, I've got a story for you here coming up on that as far as the private network side. But we just closed a $2 million a month deal in Texas for a manufacturing plant that went completely automated on our private network group. And that deal was debated on by the other company on if they wanted to do an OPEX or CAPEX model. And we were able to find the right fit for both of those because we have the ability to do whichever is best for your guys' customer on that setup. And these are kind of the 4 different technology brands that we've got. We mentioned Rapid Scale, which is, again, that's our cloud-based technology services. Blueprint RF, which is large hospitals, public gathering areas that need public Wi-Fi, hotel guest experiences, big condos, country clubs, golf courses, anything like that. We can design that. And then hospitality network that we mentioned, huge stadiums, Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas this year for the Super Bowl. We branded every part of that we could to kind of show what we were able to do there. Especially events. If you guys have something coming up that's a weekend event, we partner with that, plan for that, enable opportunities for those as well. As everybody on the call, I would assume is kind of aware, what we did yesterday is not what we're doing tomorrow. So if we need to look at different types of IoT designs, which is a nice reference to that facility in Texas that we did, completely AI powered things, edge computing. If we have customers that need to get extremely low latency, we've been able to get latency down in the 5 to 7 millisecond for nationwide transmission, which is pretty fast. Cybersecurity obviously is on everybody's head. That used to be what people thought of. And now AI and cybersecurity are the only thing that people are thinking of. And that is the primary focus for the majority of CTOs. There's a lot of stats out there on that. I didn't feel like anybody really wanted some stats thrown at them. If they do, I've got some white pages we can send over. Then of course, IoT, smart infrastructure, the dreaded wireless stickiness. If anybody's having that issue, which is, the difference between kind of like a Wi-Fi and a cellular signal. Wi-Fi is designed to grab onto like one spot and stick with it for as long as possible until it actually fails when it will grab onto the other spot. Where cellular is designed for, kind of our cars going down the highway at 80 miles an hour and to seamlessly go through there, which is what the majority of automation is going through. Pretty good write-ups. John Deere is a very public company that just said they are deploying private cellular and MOCAN services throughout every distribution and warehouse location and moving to private cellular over wireless for that exact same reason. So there's some good case studies there. If you guys have any, large manufacturing groups, large warehouse groups, large distribution groups that are getting stuck there, we are happily put that together. Our Cox private network is a nationwide offering. It is not something that has to be in footprint. So we can literally take that anywhere. Cox has no footprint in Texas. So how we got in on that bid and got that going has been really, really nice. And that is expected to have about 4 more of those sites at that same price point. So as far as success stories, that's a pretty good one, especially on a OpEx or CapEx model. Payout on those is pretty nice. So this is kind of just a general overview, and then a little kind of setup on, you know, dealing with Cox and why you should trust us to do a lot of things versus, kind of one-offing some items. There's a lot of companies that offer, X is a service, this is a service, that is a service. Cox has the network that's built, as well as the products and the collaboration tools to take on an entire network from top to bottom. We are very good at doing that. We've been doing it obviously for a very long time. You guys bring us the opportunity. We qualify those things the best way that you would like us to qualify them. So we can tailor it to, hey, I want you guys to discuss network and cellular, but I do not want you to discuss, cloud solutions or anything else. And we listen to our selling agents, to all of our selling channel, and we do not want to step on anybody's toes if you've got existing relationships. But one of the advantages of the size and scope of Cox is that we've got the ability to tailor everything to really whatever customer size you guys have, from Main Street, Wall Street, all the way to Washington, D.C. This next one is kind of our just our portfolio. With a bunch of different things that we do, business continuity, backup, things like that, private cloud. There's a really neat offering out there, and I actually know there's a couple of you guys out there, I'm not sure who's on the call, but have already been talking to us about managed cloud, private cloud, and migration, where the big 3 cloud teams are actually covering most of the cost to do the research, do the analyzation of what it would cost to move to a public cloud or a private cloud. And those are funded even without signed contracts. So they are willing to pay to find out if it is a good fit for your customers. And that training is a little bit longer. So I'm going to stay kind of that high on that one. If you guys have anybody who's looking into public cloud, private cloud migration, anything like that, please let me know. We are winning a lot of those deals. And then, AI, machine learning, we talked about, IT support if needed. We've got, help desk and knock opportunities that we can distribute out and kind of take a look at those. And we touched on this earlier, but we do have to hammer this home just because it does typically take about 3 years for thing to really sink in when you're talking to somebody you don't talk to all the time. You do have the ability to take a lump sum upfront commission, which I do have some agents that prefer that. Or now you do have the ability for completely residual on any term. So if you have a location that's setting up month to month, we'll pay you as long as they're paying us. If you have somebody who wants to do a 60-month contract, we'll pay you through that 60-month as well as after that, as long as they keep paying that setup. So that's kind of a nice preach. Hopefully everyone out there is aware of that. If not, we'll have t-shirts and everything else that say that, just like we did last year, channel partners, everybody that's going. So as far as the actual Cox side of it, we talked about kind of where we are nationwide, the different markets we have. This is kind of a nice network map. As you can see, we are not everywhere, but there are not a lot of places that we're not after the Segra purchase, the UPN purchase, and then I'm blanking, but Brightwater, I believe, is the name in St. Louis that we picked up last year. Somebody hopefully in chat can correct me if it's not Brightwater, but I believe that it is. So between the rapid scale data centers that we've got overseas, that kind of puts us into our global footprint. The blue line is our complete actual Cox markets. Brown is the Segras that we've picked up. We can quote multi-site, single site, um, anything on any of these networks. We've got data centers in almost every major data center area, which is a big focus this year for Cox and hopefully for your guys' team as well, just because of you know everybody's got to put their data somewhere. So we're trying to make it easier, make the migration easier, and then make it lucrative enough for the selling agents to where they want to get in there and do it. Um, and then I've got a couple others that I'll show if people have specific requests about things, but that's kind of our quick overview. I was given some pretty good guidance as far as what I should cover and how long I have to cover it. So I tried to keep myself under 20 minutes, and it looks like I did. That gives us 10 minutes left for some Q&A. If anybody has any questions, we can certainly answer anything that we need. If somebody wants to throw those in chat, and just let me know what they are.
Okay, we have one question for you, Eric. We're trying to get the questions to pop up. Hold on a second.
Certainly.
Yeah, there we go. First question is, give us a few examples of your differentiator or secret sauce within a few of your focused verticals.
Sure. So we mentioned hospitality network is a very big differentiator for us as far as it's a completely staffed, I guess that was a terrible phrase. It's a completely well managed turnkey solution for hospitality industry, whether it's just your normal everyday hotel that wants, TV services to completely programmed TVs that know every time you check into a Marriott exactly what channels you like and how you like it set up. The managed Wi-Fi within the networks, the distributed antenna systems, the at conference centers, which is really nice. You barely go to a conference center in any footprint that Cox isn't providing those services, even if they're weekend devices. For our Cox private network, huge differentiator there is that we have the ability to offer all 4 flavors on that, be it simple, Wi-Fi extenders, cell phone, cellular extenders, distributed antenna services, MOCAN, and that service is available nationwide. So you've got a lot of smaller players that have the ability to put up a different antenna system that'll help Wi-Fi go farther, but they're running into that same problem we talked about with that Wi-Fi stickiness. And we have a very good and very cost-effective solution for that that really can be deployed anywhere in the U.S. I'm working on a mine, literally like the gold mine type thing in Utah right now. So there's not a lot of limitations on that one. And then as far as the network side, kind of what Cox is known for on our network side, the nice thing that we really brag about is we install what we sell. If you come to me for a request and for a pricing for a location that's on net, I don't get pricing to you until I know I can get there. We have about a 94% install rate. And I believe, and again, we can fact check me on this, but most carriers are somewhere in the 80. So we really preach that we install what we sell, as nobody wants to put all that work in to get all these deals done and then just find out, oh, by the way, you're not going to get paid for that because we never install it.
Okay, next question is, how can private network help a manufacturing facility?
So the private network helps in fixing kind of the Wi-Fi stickiness that we're kind of talking about. You get a lot of automation. I don't know if anybody's been to a very current warehouse, but there's 3 people up in a control center, and there's 800 automated forklifts and trucks and everything running around. And if that is deployed with traditional wireless, you've got 80-foot ceilings, so that's impairing things. You've got a lot of metal, that's impairing things. It makes it a lot harder for the automation to not break down, getting those guys out, requiring more labor to go out and keep those things running. If we switch that to the complete private cellular network with the distributed antennas, you lose all of that issue. It is able to move around everything from, so the one that I'm referencing is a 2 million square foot facility in Texas. We're bidding 130,000 square foot site, actually in Missouri. So there's some some familiarity there, and it's the ability to find the solution that best fits for your guys' customer, or it's your team's customer. Sorry, shouldn't say guys'.
Okay. Next question, can we white label Rapid Scale Help Desk?
That is a good follow-up question. I have not been asked that.
All right. We'll move on.
We
Are
do
you
allow white labeling of a lot of things, but I'm actually not positive of if somebody calls in on that, if there's a way to change it to where they say, thank you for calling, company X versus company Y. So that is a good follow-up question for me.
Yeah, we'll post your answer when in the future. And then next question is, are you our channel manager for both Cox and Rapid Scale?
Yes. So you'll have a channel team at Rapid Scale. Rapid Scale was drawn up entirely to be channel based. With the Cox acquisition in 2019, we've kind of implemented some of the changes. So you will have both sides. Jim Twomey is kind of my peer. He's got sellers. Dylan Craig, I believe, has got your guys' market. So we are welcome to partner everything together because of my relationship with the entirety of your company. Everything should flow through me. Hopefully it originates through me. If not, I'll get looped in eventually on it to make sure that they know what they're dealing with.
Okay. And what customer prospect is not a good fit?
Is there a specific product on that question, or is it just like as in entirety?
It's just in general.
As far as the connectivity side and kind of the basic services, there really isn't a bad customer for that. For some of the larger products, Rapid Scale actually has an ideal customer profile now, which I can distribute out later. They're looking for customers that have an annual revenue between 25 and I think $200 million, just to kind of help make sure that they're targeting the correct people that are going to become customers, are going to get sticky with us and grow. There's churn at the lower end of that. If we're just flipping, Office 365 licenses back and forth, that gets real expensive for everybody. And then it just, every couple of years they switch to somebody else, and then you guys stop getting paid, we stop getting paid. So there's some ideal customer profiles for some of our products, but for our core products, it's anywhere from Main Street to Wall Street to Washington.